The Yellow Canoe. We were on our way home from Salem when I saw it, the big yellow canoe. It was out by the road in front of that old junkyard on the right there at Penland. The bow was sticking straight up in the air with a for sale sign hanging from it. My eyes lit up. Neither one of my parents wanted to stop. They knew I'd been on the hunt for a canoe, but so far I've been unable to find one in my price range. I was an adult, but just barely, and funds were tight. The yellow canoe was within my price range. Maybe that should have been a warning. We gave it a look-see, examined a small patch spot, haggled a little, then loaded it up in Papa's van then and there. As we slid it into the back of the van and lodged it between the two front seats as far as it would go, and nearly half the canoe was still sticking out the back of a Ford Econoline 150 van, Papa exclaimed, "This sumbitch is longer than my boat." The canoe was 18 feet long. 18 long feet. He called it the aircraft carrier. The first problem to solve was hauling it. My initial plan was to strap it to the top of my old green car. No manner of bungee cord engineering could accomplish that. So Papa gave in and let me borrow his van to haul the canoe as long as I stayed within the Tri-County area. Papa used this boundary expression with me a lot, and he considered it to mean Taylor, Dixie, and Lafayette counties. Well, I consider Tri-County to be more of a fluid statement, depending on where you are currently standing geographically within the Taylor County borders. Say you were at Hickory Mound, I consider the Tri-County area to be Taylor, Jefferson, or Wakulla. Or maybe if you're in Shady Grove, you got Taylor, Madison, or Jefferson counties. See what I mean? He didn't. Back to the Yellow Canoe. The first voyage on Blue Springs Lake went smooth. It floated fine. We caught a mess of fish and were happy. But when Kim Rollerson and I attempted to drag the canoe from the lake, it was much, much heavier than when we launched. So heavy we couldn't pick it up, and Kim was strong. The two of us conferred, then deduced that water must have leaked into and filled up the false bottom from that suspicious-looking patch spot. So we managed to drag the boat onto land, then turned it over and waited for the water to drain out from two small holes, one at the bow and one at the stern. It took about 15 minutes for it to empty, but once it did, the boat was much lighter and easy to load. When I got home, I addressed the problem with Papa, and he patched the bad spot, or split, again. But the patch didn't take because it was becoming clear the split was caused by hauling. It was right where the canoe rested on the bumper during transit, so it was always a stress point going down bumpy roads. Imagine riding down any graded road in the Tri-County area with that canoe hanging out the back and bouncing with every bump. Crack, crunch, crack, crunch, crack, crunch. I tried loading it upside down and even tried to lodge it in on its side to take the pressure off the split with no success. What I really needed was a trailer or a long bed truck or even, perhaps, a new canoe. But none of those things were going to happen anytime soon, what with my tight finances and all. So I just made do. We considered it safe enough because the water only leaked into the false bottom, so it's not like the whole boat filled up and sank. It just gathered water in that area that was supposed to contain air and hold the boat afloat if it capsized. Papa hopefully figured that the material the boat was made of was some kind of fiberglass plastic composite that would at least partially float on its own upon capsizing. But then our engineer neighbor Clint put his 2 cents in and strongly disagreed. He declared, in that tone most engineers use, and I'm paraphrasing here, this is the gist of what he said. This canoe's flotation capability upon capsizing depends on an air void between the dual walls. Full of water, it will sink. Clint never got in that boat. I, along with many passengers, paddled that leaky canoe for a decade without it turning over. It was very stable, roomy, comfortable, could easily hold 3 people plus a lounge chair, ice chest, and gear. It cruised smoothly, like an aircraft carrier. And I took it in many, if not most, bodies of water, rivers, and tidal creeks in the Tri-County area, excluding the Pinole. I paddled that thing across Pretty Pond back when there was water everywhere. It's been up and down the Wasissa, through the Slave Canal, over logs and rocks, and a few little rapids. I could keep on. On occasion, I'd ask Papa if he was concerned that I was paddling this leaky, liable to sink canoe throughout the waterways of the Tri-County area, and he'd say aircraft carriers rarely capsize. After I met Rod and suggested we go canoeing, he was game. But then he saw the canoe I'd been using for 10 years and did a safety inspection, noted the crack, the layers upon layers of patch, the false bottom, the drain holes, as he listened to me tell him how it all worked. He looked at me with a touch of concern and horror, like he often did in our early years. And within a few days, he was perusing a Mohawk canoe catalog, shopping for something that would float if capsized. Our Mohawk canoe was over 35 years old and still in excellent shape. It's not as long as the old yellow one and doesn't cruise quite as smoothly, but it is more maneuverable and nimble. Plus, if you capsize, it floats. Papa gave the yellow canoe to a teenage boy that knocked on his door one day after seeing it laying abandoned against the back fence. The boy has not been seen or heard from since.